Hello, everybody! It's everybody's favorite mythical creature, the one and only, Mr. Toad, saying, how is everybody? I want to say thank you to everybody that made the Corncob Takeover a success. Let us not let it die off yet. Let's keep it going. Now, I also want to say thank you, the loving, caring viewers of YouTube, for helping me achieve 100 subscribers. When I started doing this, I didn't think I'd get 5 people, let alone 100. So thank you. Now, for a little housekeeping. What am I smoking? Why, I am smoking Junkyard Dog in my home-modified Country Gent. I had saved this tin of Junkyard Dog for a special occasion, and I thought, you know what? 100 subscribers is more than enough of an occasion. Now, I've come up with a contest for my 100 subscribers. This contest will run 2 weeks. And the topic choice, there's 3 choices for the topic. You choose, but the 3 topics are: knowing my love for history. It was a very hard decision for me to choose what the topic would be. Little cat house coffee in my smoking pipes mug. Or as I like to call her, Old Faithful. She hasn't let me down yet. Now, the topics are: what is your favorite invention from history? And why? Why do you feel that invention had, or what role has that invention played in history? If you can't think of an invention, which, I can't, typically, what is your favorite event from history? It don't have to be American history, it can be world history, whatever. What is your favorite event from history? And what impact has that had on today? And what is your, or what is your favorite who is your favorite historical person? For me, all 3 lead to my love of the dark side of history. Early on studying history, I realized it's like a wound. Once you rip off the scab and start squeezing the pus out, the deeper you go, the more you get. That is history. It's not pretty. It's not this painted bullshit that they see in textbooks. No. When you start getting down into it, history is a very dark, very gritty, very macabre subject. And that's why I love it. For me, my favorite invention is the electric chair. Without question. Now, why? Because I grew up in Oklahoma. Yes, to some, Oklahoma may not have that much of a distinction, but not many people know this, but if you look up the history of the electric chair, the first person executed west of the Mississippi was December the 20th, 1915, at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAlester, Oklahoma. From 1915 until 91, I believe, electrocution was the method of execution in Oklahoma. But the electric chair is also the last remnant of the War of the Currents to make it into the 21st century. I say that. I'm not talking, light bulbs, and yeah, we've got electricity. We know, Edison won out. But Westinghouse is alternating, or we all know Westinghouse won out. But the Westinghouse alternating current was first put to the test in the electric chair. 1899, William Kimball, kills his wife, ends up on death row at Auburn Prison. Kimball thinks he's gonna hang. He illiterate immigrant, didn't know anything about the laws, didn't realize the laws had just changed. So yeah, Kimball become the first person to be electrocuted. And it just went from there. All except for the far west, which for some reason the gas chamber caught on out there, which, obvious ties to World War II, didn't catch on the rest of the country. My favorite historical event would be the assassination of William McKinley. And no, I'm not saying that because McKinley was a bad president. But the death of William McKinley directly affected the election or the subsequent passage of the office of presidency to Theodore Roosevelt. Without Theodore Roosevelt, we wouldn't have the FDA. Yes, I know it's a thorn on our side now, but it is a necessary evil. We wouldn't have the FDA. We wouldn't have the Pure Food and Drug Act. We wouldn't have, the reforms in the meatpacking businesses. We wouldn't have national parks. All of that come in under Theodore Roosevelt. So without McKinley's death, Roosevelt would have never been president. Without Roosevelt, we wouldn't have some of the most beautiful places in the country today. And my favorite person is Herman Webster Mudgett. Now, this was a hard question for me because there's a lot of historical people that I love. But Mr. Mudgett, commonly known by his alias Henry Howard Holmes, was the, if you know anything about Chicago or the history of Chicago, Devil in the White Castle. That was H.H. Holmes. Now, the reason why he's, to me, is he was America's first serial killer. The man was a genius. Now, to some, that's questionable. But if you track the record of most serial killers, they're intelligent, don't get me wrong, but they never finished college. And Holmes did. Holmes went through the University of Michigan Medical School. So, for those Ohio State fans, that could be another reason why you dislike Michigan among many, but, But Holmes designed his torture palace, and the way he designed it was ingenious. Trapdoors and, secret passageways and secret doors where he could go in and out of rooms as he pleased. Incredible. Am I glorifying his crimes? No. The man was a psychopath. He deserved what he got. But I guess I'm partial to Holmes because of the handlebar mustache. Holmes himself had a pretty nice mustache. But and if none of that suits you, I will give you the fourth option to choose a famous cigar or pipe smoker and Just because we all have one person that stands out to us. For me, that would be a hard choice, but a tie between Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin. And no, I don't agree with Stalin's policies. Stalin, even up until the fall of communism. I'm not saying I agree with communism. I don't. I see its place in history, but that's anyway. But even up until the 80s, Joseph Stalin was still seen as one of the greatest leaders of Russia. And he died in 1952. So his legacy is undeniable. And Winston Churchill, well, there's thousands of stories on Churchill. Churchill smoked cigars, Stalin smoked a pipe. It covered both bases there. But the rules, the prizes for this contest will be samples out of my cellar. A little junkyard dog, a little yield sign, a little esoterica and soda bed. Just whatever I can get a hold of. Those three will be in there. And then a couple other goodies. Probably a corncob pipe or two, maybe a tamper. But you have 2 weeks from today, when this video is uploaded, to just pick one of the topics and just let me know what y'all like. I'm interested in knowing more about my fellow YouTubers. And furthermore, before I'm at 12 minutes now, before this goes, any further, I'd like to give a couple shout outs here to Luca the Cave. Luke, you're a amazing friend, and if you haven't had a chance to follow Luca the Cave, go to his channel, click the subscribe button. Let's get him to 100 views. Another is Ghost Cobb. Sean Safor, again, another great friend. And I love both channels for Luke for the enthusiasm that you put out, and the enthusiasm. You can tell that you thoroughly enjoy what you do. Every video is unique. There's nothing the same about any of the videos. And Sean is just extremely knowledgeable, extremely down to earth, and just very laid back. Polar opposites, but both are amazing people. If you have not followed them, I highly recommend it. But as far as the competition, video response of whatever topic of your choosing, the VR being Mr. Toad 100, and just let's see what YouTube can come up with. This is everybody's favorite mythical creature, the one and only Mr. Toad, saying, I'm gone.